You'll be seeing videos creepy enough to keep you awake at night. From terrifying entities caught on camera to intense poltergeist activity in homes. These are the scariest ghost videos of all time. Two brothers had just moved to a new house. While one of them was making the bed, a pale arm came out from the cupboard behind him and pulled him in. He began shrieking and jumped over the bed after freeing himself. When his brother came closer, he captured the same hand shutting the door. But to their horror, the cupboard was empty. The brothers were cowering with fear since the entire house was filled with bone-chilling shrieks. After that night, they decided to move out. Staircase entity. Viewers are divided about this video's authenticity, but it's still worth watching. At night, when the homeowner was walking up the stairs, the home security camera captured a bone-chilling entity below. At first, only a vague shape was visible in the dark. Then, its face finally came into view. It had bright, glowing eyes, and began to bring its face closer to the camera, like it knew it was being watched. Since there are no further details about this video, viewers think this could be a setup, but the final decision is yours. Ghostly occupant. A family had just moved into a new house that they'd gotten for cheap. Little did they know, an invisible entity was already living there. They set up a camera to capture proof, and at 10 p.m., complete mayhem broke out in the kitchen. Cabinets and drawers slammed on their own, and things flew in all directions with so much force. The family was lucky they weren't in the way. But the camera wasn't so lucky. It fell to the side with impact, as if the ghost wanted the recording to stop. After that, they showed the footage to the landlord to cancel their lease. Mirror portal. A man had been hearing strange noises in the room while his roommate was asleep. He realized something was wrong, and when he began recording, he captured a terrifying dark reflection in the middle behind his roommate's bed. It seemed like the mirror was acting as a portal, and the entity was staring at them through it. At the same time, the stack of papers on the table flew up and scattered everywhere. He freaked and couldn't sleep at night, and asked his roommate to throw out the mirror the next day. Disguised imposter. A woman named Lucy Williams was staying with her home, and one night when her mother wasn't home, she heard loud banging in the kitchen. She went to check and found her mother slamming the oven door repeatedly. Her mother had never behaved this way, and when she turned to look at Lucy, her terrifying expressions revealed that this was not her mother. This was an imposter disguised as her. So, she ran to her room and locked herself until the entity was gone. Haunted ICU. Hospitals are meant to save lives, but sometimes they trap the spirits of those who don't make it. And that's exactly what makes this footage so creepy. This intensive care unit in Portugal is one of the most paranormally active places because the security camera often records mysterious shapes, taking from under the sheets and changing forms too. At the same time, everything begins to move fiercely, and monitors show readings even though no one is present. This had started happening after a man had passed away in this room, and his spirit refused to move on. Staff no longer used this room for other patients. Poltergeist activity. This security camera footage shows a woman named Amelia Madison asleep with her dog. Suddenly, the dog went on high alert. At the same time, Amelia began to levitate as something invisible took hold of her. Even the dog rose up on its hind legs and began barking fiercely. It had sensed something evil in the room, and even the woman woke up as she was dropped back down. It seemed like a poltergeist had crossed over into this dimension to cause the brief but terrifying disturbance.
Who's there? Who's there?
Terrifying face. A man had gone to look after his bedridden grandfather. Medical experts had no idea why he kept falling ill mysteriously. One night, just as he was about to fall asleep, he heard a loud rattling from the bathroom and found a terrifying, blurry face staring through the glass vision panel. He opened the door and found the bathroom to be completely empty. The man realized there was an evil entity in the house, and it could have been behind his grandfather's sickness, so he moved him to his place the next day. Hair yank. While this woman was working in her kitchen, suddenly her hair got yanked back with so much force that she lost her balance. She looked around in panic and couldn't see anyone, but the camera had captured something terrifying in her reflection behind her. A shadowy shape had appeared at the exact moment when her hair got pulled. After she uploaded this video, viewers said it was most likely the spirit of the previous owner, who didn't want anyone living in his or her house. Terrifying touch. This woman from Texas was relaxing in her home when a hand appeared from behind her and grabbed her forehead. It was a light grab, but enough to absolutely frighten her. She screamed and got up to look around, but even after moving the furniture, she couldn't find anyone. She checked the security camera to confirm she hadn't imagined it, and that only made it creepier. Haunted new home. This couple had bought a new home in Delaware, but in the second week, a mischievous presence made itself known. It pulled the chair from underneath the woman, and she didn't have time to react. What followed was pure chaos. Doors began to slam, objects flew everywhere, and then the man lost control of his body too. A few minutes later, it stopped, but this was clearly too much for them, so they relocated once more. Ghost Girl. After walking into this training center one morning, the management found things in disarray. They were worried someone had broken in the previous, but the security, there was a ghost that looked like a girl. She suddenly turned and looked straight at the camera with glowing eyes. At the same time, a chair tipped over, and it looked like she was staring directly at the people watching the footage. Since they'd never dealt with something like this before, they locked that classroom for the time being. Ceiling entity. After constantly hearing footsteps in her ceiling, this homeowner decided to film her attic. And what she found was terrifying. An entity that looked like a woman was staring at her. She immediately called the police, thinking it was an intruder, but the police found no one inside. She showed them this clip, and the officer said the intruder might have left while she was waiting for the cops, but that doesn't look like a human being, or at least not anymore. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Dangerous dare. In an old cemetery, a grave was said to be so haunted that whenever it was sealed, it would end up breaking apart. So a local paranormal investigator laid down in the grave to contact the ghost, and it responded. As he lay there, his shirt was suddenly pulled up by an invisible force. The man was immediately overwhelmed with fear and crawled out of there. The ghost was clearly furious that someone had stepped inside. However, no one knows why this grave is so haunted. Shattering jars. In the late 1940s, a chef mysteriously passed away in this cafe, but recently it reopened. While one man was working alone, the lights suddenly flickered. In that exact moment, every jar on the counter shattered at once. The only thing left behind was glass powder and cookies everywhere. The employee stepped back in shock, and not long after, he quit the job. The cafe still struggles to hire a new chef. Jinn encounter. In Saudi Arabia, paranormal investigator Hassan Barbar went to an abandoned building that had been empty for over 20 years. And 20 minutes after entering it, he found out why everyone stayed away from it. A tall, dark shape appeared in the distance. It was a jinn. Other people would keep their distance, but Hassan walked closer and tried to speak to it. But the jinn refused to face him, and in the end, it disappeared completely. But the jinn didn't face him, and eventually disappeared completely. Hassan understood that the jinn didn't like him in its territory and didn't want human contact, so he left.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Grandma's imposter. What you're about to see now is pure nightmare fuel. A woman in Alaska had been asleep when she felt a touch. She woke up and freaked out because she was supposed to be completely alone and found this terrifying face staring back at her. It was pale and looked like her grandmother's face. However, her grandmother passed away 3 years ago. It seemed like an imposter had disguised itself to scare her. She tried to stay as calm as she could, and maybe that's why the face eventually disappeared. Shadow entity. TikTok user Jillian McHale had been lip-syncing to a song while dancing, and the video went viral instantly, but for a completely different reason. Viewers quickly began pointing out a terrifying figure in the background. It was shaped like a person, but it was as dark as a shadow, and seemed to be facing the camera. After reading the comments, Jillian posted another video reacting to the entity, because even she had no idea who or what was behind her. She had been completely alone that day. Cemetery ghost. Cemeteries have earned a really dark reputation over the years, and this video proves why. A man was at a cemetery in Colombia in the evening to grieve over a loved one. After sensing a strange presence there, he began recording his surroundings, and this is what he captured. There seemed to be someone in the distance with an odd posture. He thought it was another visitor like him, but as he rushed towards it, that figure had already vanished behind a tree. It seemed like it hadn't been there in the first place, and that's why he believed it was a ghost. Terrifying figures. This woman was alone with her dog when the home security camera captured a dark humanoid shape running from one room to another. The very next second, a dark dog came running out of one of the rooms, but the reason she and the dog were so frightened was because she only had one pet. This woman has never been able to explain this eerie incident. Banging hands.
Leave.
On the night of July 9th, 2025, a man was home alone when he began hearing loud noises. He saw two pale hands repeatedly banging on the glass. Since it was a one-way glass, he turned off the lights to get a better look, but as he was about to open the window, the hands vanished. There were no footprints or signs anyone had been there. As he stepped away, the hands reappeared. This went on for the entire night. The uploader is yet to make an update on this situation.
What are you? Stop.
Gaming room ghost. While a man was in his gaming room at home, he got up to grab a quick bite, but when he returned, someone was in his chair. It looked like a small human-like figure facing him. Confused, he started recording, especially since the main door had been locked and no one else should have gotten inside. As he moved closer, the figure suddenly vanished. He searched the entire room, but found no one. That's when he realized it was not an intruder, but a ghost. That night, fear didn't let him sleep. Mysterious shadow. What could go wrong with a fun TikTok dance challenge? For this woman, everything went wrong. Look closely behind her. A humanoid shadow appeared upstairs and quickly moved across the wall. She didn't notice it at the time, but later, while uploading the video, she realized what had happened. That's how this simple dance clip quickly reached over 1 million views for a much different reason. Ghostly footprint. In this video, a group of janitors was working on the second floor of a nursing home. Suddenly, they heard a door slam shut. They were startled at first, but their confusion quickly turned into fear as more sounds followed, and at the same time, all the lights turned off. They ran away, and after that, the security camera captured a white footprint, as if someone invisible had been walking there. It could not have been the staff either, because they were all wearing shoes. Did that mean the place was haunted? Share your answers in the comments below, and why not like this video and subscribe as well? Thank you. Hospital growls. A nurse was working early in the morning in a hospital in Mexico, decorating for a senior's birthday. The staff had chosen an empty ward for the celebration, one that was no longer in use. During that, she began hearing muffled noises. They sounded like terrifying low growls coming from deep inside the ward. She was terrified because no one had visited that area for a very long time, and sounds from abandoned places are rarely a good sign. But she forced herself to ignore the fear since she had a job to finish. Midnight prayer. A security guard was working late inside the Iron Palace in Mexico City's historic center when something really unsettling happened. In one of the stores, several Alexa devices suddenly turned on by themselves. They all began playing the Divine Mercy Chaplet in perfect synchronization. The store had been locked, so no one else could have entered to give such commands. The prayers kept going on for nearly an hour. The guard recorded the incident and later uploaded the video online. Viewers believed something supernatural had been controlling the devices, and the store needed a cleansing ritual. Witchcraft ritual. A TikTok user named Yeye Rodriguez shared a disturbing video of witchcraft. Around 3 a.m., this woman would walk by her doorstep every day. Each time, she would make odd gestures at the doorstep with a stick, just like you can see in this video. After sharing this video, viewers immediately warned her that when strange things like this become repetitive, they're a sign of witchcraft. So she alerted authorities to identify the creepy woman. Strange, smoky shapes. The following CCTV footage shows a boy in the street of India past midnight. He'd stepped out to play, but got really scared after seeing something mysterious. Strange, white, smoky shapes had come out from a house and seemed to get bigger as they moved across the street. This wasn't just ordinary smoke, because there was no logical source to create it, like a chimney or a factory, and he must have sensed that too, which is why he ran. So, could that be a group of ghosts? Ghost sighting. A watchman in Texas kept hearing dogs barking near a cemetery, so he followed the noise, thinking something was wrong. That's when he saw something unsettling. In the distance, an entity dressed in white was walking slowly down the street. It clearly wasn't a normal person, because it had white skin, like a ghost. He believed the dogs had sensed it and were reacting to its presence. Not wanting to attract attention, he kept his distance and let it pass, fearing it could be La Llorona, who is said to be dangerous. Terrifying disturbance. On the 20th of October, 2025, A home security camera in Ohio caught terrifying activity. At around 10 p.m., it looked like something had come alive inside the home because objects began to move on their own. Even the cat inside the bedroom got startled. This happened every night at the same time, and it had started after the homeowner had renovated the home. It seemed like the change had disturbed something unseen there and was making its anger known. Haunted recordings. Frank, the owner of YouTube channel Artamorbid, creates content on reviews of audio and video recording gear. But one day, he posted something different, and it terrified viewers. He set up a camera at night facing his bathroom because he'd been hearing strange noises, and the camera captured a creepy, dark reflection in the mirror. After that, he decided to set up more cameras to monitor the entire house, and one night, it recorded a white, ghostly figure from the doorway. It was passing down the hallway and didn't seem to have a head. That's how his recording gear revealed his house was haunted. Dog or ghost?
Lego.
A woman named Natalie in California had woken up at 2 a.m. to grab a small snack. That's when she saw a dark shape in the distance peeking from around the corner. She thought it was her dog and began calling out to her, but as she walked closer, it had vanished. That was the exact moment she realized it wasn't her dog. And after posting this video, she also mentioned that after checking into her room, she'd found her dog asleep. Ever since that, she'd been terrified every night of whatever that was.
Come here.
Shadow Man. It's not known where this CCTV footage was recorded, but it's still one of the most viral videos ever. It shows a dark human-shaped figure crossing the road, and it walked right through the vehicles. Take a look. The strangest part is that none of the drivers seemed to notice the strange entity on the road, but it was still clearly visible on the camera. Now viewers believe that this was one of the shadow people that had entered our dimension to cause trouble. Haunted accordion. After a man's grandmother had passed away, he had gone to her house to sort through her belongings and prepare the place to be emptied. But suddenly, something bone-chilling happened. The accordion on the table began moving on its own, the entire house filled with music. And he began recording with fear, because it is never possible to operate an accordion without hands. It was his grandma's most favorite belonging, and it seemed like her spirit still lingered in the house and made itself known through that. But instead of joy, the man was scared. Haunted canteen. On the 17th of February, 2026, school management in Florida had found the canteen in a complete mess. Thinking that someone must have broken in, they checked the CCTV footage. But their intruder wasn't human. Everything was moving on their own, like invisible ghosts were throwing all the tables and chairs around. This reminded them that the students had often complained about seeing ghosts in schools, hearing strange sounds, and invisible hands touching them. But the staff always dismissed their complaints as pranks. But now they realized they were all true. Pale entity. The following CCTV footage from Jacksonville, Florida, recorded a tall, pale humanoid shape outside a home. As it walked from behind the truck, its shape slowly turned faint with time, like it was made of nothing but smoke. Then it became still for a moment before disappearing in the blink of an eye. We can clearly see that no frame was skipped in the video, and it couldn't have been a glitch in the camera because everything else in the video was normal. So did this CCTV capture a ghost? Crawling entity. On the 8th of April 2021 at 2:24 a.m., a homeowner in Mexico was checking the live feed from his security camera one last time before going to sleep. But he didn't expect to see something this disturbing. There was a dark figure with shaggy hair crawling down the street in a very unsettling way. He couldn't even tell if it was facing forward or backward. He prayed it would pass by his home quickly because he knew it was not a homeless person, as there were none in his neighborhood. Cursed house. When this man uploaded this video online, he claimed his new house was haunted. As he was recording, a dark shape began peeking at him from the doorway. He freaked out and rushed towards it, but when he entered that room, the figure had vanished. He looked around everywhere but couldn't find anything suspicious. The man also mentioned that he never really believed in ghosts and paranormal stories, but now his mind had changed. If this didn't stop, he would have to move out soon. Mysterious Uber request.
We are picking a passenger called Betty up from the Fort Lincoln Cemetery.
You won't believe this one. An Uber driver was a pickup request from a cemetery. It was a person named Betty, but when he reached outside the cemetery, there was no one waiting for the ride. Since it wasn't a drive-in cemetery, the person who requested the ride was supposed to be waiting outside. He got out of the car, and after reaching the exact pin location, there was no sign of a person. And for some mysterious reason, he couldn't contact Betty either. He couldn't decide if it was a prank request or something creepy was going on, so he canceled the ride.
So I ended up canceling the ride because there's nobody over here.
Mysterious peeking shape. The political commentator Angela Rye had been streaming from her living room. She was completely alone, and everything was normal in the beginning. Then a mysterious shape appeared behind her. It was semi-transparent and vague, but it seemed to be peering at her from around behind the wall before vanishing. Although she didn't realize it was there, millions of viewers who'd been watching the live stream began freaking out, saying there was a ghost behind her. Mysterious happenings.
What is that?
Last year, Randall Fillon, a software engineer, had been hearing strange noises in his new apartment. So one night he decided to record a video once the noises started again. As he got up, the hallway lights began flickering on and off mysteriously. He cautiously walked around with his camera steady and finally captured a dark shape peeking from a doorway. He approached it, but the figure disappeared. This had started happening after he tried playing ritualistic games in his house, but he hadn't realized that joke would change his reality.
Who are you? I'm not gonna hurt you.
Ritual gone wrong. After buying an expensive relic from an antique shop, this man's life changed completely because the object turned out to be cursed. One night, he decided to perform a cleansing ritual. As he read verses from the Bible out loud and held out the cross, something suddenly fell from a rack. He began screaming and realized the cursed relic had brought angry spirits into his home. The spirit moved the entire rack and slammed the door shut, trapping him inside. He stopped the ritual and decided to contact a priest, but he hasn't posted any updates since. Sealing entity. A woman named Sarah Jones posted a really disturbing video from her workplace. It happened in 2021 when she was working late. She looked up and saw something terrifying through the small gap in the ceiling. A pale face appeared to be staring straight down at her. She immediately reported it to management, but they brushed it off, saying it was just a lighting illusion and that she was overreacting. But Sarah did not believe that explanation at all. What do you think she really saw? Now it's time for the scariest ghost video of today.
Oh my God.
On the 20th of August, 2025, a woman from Delaware was performing a cleansing ritual in her kitchen. She would always get chills in this part of her house and felt watched, even though she lived alone. During the ritual, she commanded the spirits to leave, but